Planting seeds. We've been planting seeds in May. Guess what? My seeds sprouted.
Oh.
And you remember doing this? On May 7th, we had World Day of Laughter, and now these, I'm not sure, they could be zinnias, or they could be morning glories. I can't really remember. And I'm going to put them in a better pot, and I'm going to nurture these little seeds. Because that's what we have to do at Unity. We only plant seeds, but without the practice and the nurturing, we need to see them grow. So, oh my goodness. Excuse me.
He's one.
No, I'm good. Reverend Josette inspired me. Now that was really in April. But she inspired me about the 12 powers. Taking another look at them, which I'm going to do today. And then Reverend Debris inspired me to plant the seeds. She said, we are the farmer and the field. We are the sower and the garden. It's both. It's within us, but see, we have that responsibility to make it happen. Planted right here in the fertile soil of spirit, we want to send out love and kindness and compassion. If you really go back, and by the way, I want to really applaud Angel. She does a fabulous job of putting the lessons on our website. Yes. And they're really, the sound is good, they're really well recorded, and we captured some really great lessons here recently. So I commend you all to look at those. Reverend Russ did such a great job. And was it Angela that sang? And Ashley, excuse me, and I had to miss that. Oh, I was so sad.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was just terrible.
Oh.
And I was so sick though, but it's the first time, y'all, I can remember being sick for my birthday. Oh. But then, okay, one time in 71 years, I guess that's really pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not so bad. But you know, now I know Travis will disagree with me, but a seed had been planted by my little baby granddaughter, and so I got her sinusitis, her conjunctivitis.
Oh, no.
I got the whole works. So did my daughter Jill, and I don't know what we were thinking. I'm gonna have to wear masks if I ever take care of her again when she's sick. But anyway, I really am here now. Actually, I was really worried yesterday. I thought, you know, I've been working on the talk, and I said, how am I going to get up and do that? Chris, I have no energy. Well, even as late as yesterday afternoon, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to call her. I don't know what I'm going to do. So after a week of those swollen eyes and the hacking cough and everything, y'all, this is like when I used to teach at schools all around Arkansas. I felt rode hard and put up wet. I mean, and I don't, at the moment, now look, if we want to talk about appearances, you know, my appearance, I'm sure I look that way a little bit now too. But at any rate, but first, what I did last night was I made myself a good dinner. You know, you forget that you need to take care of your body. And I hadn't really been eating well, so I ate a good dinner. And then I read The Absolute Word by Paul Hasselbeck, and I'm going to read that later. And the other thing I did, I called Silent Unity. I did. I called and I said, I have to give a talk now on the power of power, and I feel as puny as I can be. And I really need some help. And they truly, truly helped me. My prayer partner reminded me of the peace and love that is always at your center. And I can't describe the feeling, but it just brought me to my center where, you know, I wasn't sick at the center. There really was that peace. And she brought me to the inexhaustible source of strength, divine strength, and order and power and faith. And where I could not see myself finishing a talk and giving it, my prayer partner described a beautiful outcome for me. And she says, and so it is. And I went, okay, that's it. And I thanked her, and I just kept going. So we shall see how that is. Now, I told my daughter I was giving the talk today, and she sent me this funny, now look at that. She said, my God, the church lady is risen. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be dancing around like that today, but when she showed me that, I just had,
hilarious.
it is hilarious, isn't it? So, okay, well, and our printer's not working in there, and so we were having a little bit of trouble with things today. But I really have felt uplifted, and so here I am. And we're going to be talking about the power of power. The divine, in fact, I feel audacious just getting out of the house and getting here. So the divine audacity of power. But I want us to look at the power of our thoughts and words, how that moves us closer to our truth of being. And, Josette explained these powers in a slightly different way than I'd ever heard. Now, I am not one to talk about the colors and the apostles and the month, and all that, but I just listened to her. I opened up and listened to her, how she talked about the power of love. And she talked about, well, she gave us the color. Now, purple is the color for power. That makes sense, right? It's royal. It speaks of power. But it's not so much of the earthly kingships. It's more of a divine kingdom that it speaks. And then the apostle is Philip. And Philip he was a disciple and apostle of Jesus. And mainly you see him or read about him in the Gospel of John. He convinced Nathanael, another person, to join Jesus' disciples. He helped the Gentiles learn about Jesus' teachings, and he distributed the miraculous bread and fish to the multitude that Jesus fed. Remember the 5,000. His name means lover of horses. And I got to thinking about that. Lover of horses. If you think about that, that's like man's dominion over the animals. And a powerful animal like a horse, man has that power. Philip was sent to spread the word in Acts. And it is said, the apostles therefore were scattered abroad and went about preaching the word. And Philip went down to the city of Samaria and proclaimed unto them the Christ. And the multitudes gave heed with one accord unto the things that were spoken by Philip. So speaking the word, using his voice, that's a very important thing that Philip was associated with. And I appreciate actually that Charles took the time to make a meaning out of the disciples, to make it more metaphysical. Some of that seems old-fashioned, but I always believe in appreciating the classics and the origins of things. Now, recall that Reverend Josette said love and wisdom are at the great nerve centers at the back of the heart and at the solar plexus. And this is where love and wisdom operate, and they operate kind of in tandem. Well, the power center for the for power is the throat, and it controls all the vibratory energies of our body. It is the open door between the formless and the formed worlds of vibrations pertaining to the expression of sound. Every word that goes forth receives a specific character form, the power faculty. When Jesus said, the words that I've spoken unto you are spirit and are life, he meant that through the spoken word, he conveyed an inner spiritual quickening. So I want us to experience that sound. And I know I'm not as strong in my throat and lungs today as I could be, but I've always used the power of mantra, of using sounds and using seed sounds. And Om is the most sacred of the mantras. By pronouncing and meditating a seed sound, you can actually activate the divinity within. And so I love what this Swami Krishnananda says. He said, we do not create Om by a chanting of it. In other words, we don't make it, but we only produce a vibration sympathetic with the vibration that already is. And that made sense to me in terms of unity, because we are in this oneness. We are of one substance. We are already in it. You know, we don't do something separate from it. So this sound of Om is not something brand new that we just say. We are tuning into that vibration. Excuse me. So why do we chant Om? We want to establish between ourselves and that which exists by its own right and manifests as a sound vibration. All right, I'm going to try this. I know I've got y'all out there, so we're going to try. We're going to at least do it once. Now, when you do Om, it comes from the solar plexus, and it's oh. But then, as you finish it, you bring it up to your lips and you vibrate, and you feel the vibration. So here we go. One more time. Excuse me, but I could feel that. I don't know about y'all.
That's the first time I was able to do it. I don't know why. Up until now, I've always been a bad owner.
Well, part of it is really concentrating in your solar plexus and letting that that deep sound, and then letting it rise in you. It's really pretty amazing, isn't it? Isn't it something? So, let me see. Now, beyond basic sound, we can expand to the voice to very powerful effect. And I've got a couple of songs in here today, and I was trying to think of some beautiful, powerful voices like Josh Grogan, but then I thought of this Jessie Norman, who's an operatic singer, and I'm going to play Amazing Grace with her. And Amazing Grace, you know, is a Christian hymn, and the words were written by an Anglican clergyman who had actually been a seaman, and he had been on ships that were participated in slave trade. And one night off the coast of Ireland, they were in a terrible storm, and he prayed and begged, and he said, "Oh, if you can just deliver us." And he realized by the grace of God they were saved. And later he became a clergyman instead of a seaman, and he became an abolitionist as well. And he wrote this song, let's see, it was to go with a New Year's Day sermon in 1773. Wow. And you know it's become very famous since then, but I never knew that it had that connection to slavery, and we use it all the time. And so I think you're really going to enjoy, just listen to the power of this. It was a tribute, Sidney Poitier is in it too.
I
Wasn't it beautiful when she went a cappella and the power of that vibration?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Expression.
And the expression,
Yeah.
just, she has a powerful instrument and she knows how to use it. Now, music, it certainly enhances the voice, but we don't have to have that. We can use our voice anytime. And I was trying to go through and think of, well, Martin Luther King Jr., he used his voice. His speech changed so much in the 60s. And I was trying to get other examples of that. And what I came up with is there's many really wonderful graduation speeches. And this is the time of graduation in May. And so you might come across some really good oratory. But I wanna bring it back to us. We need to use our voice and speak our truths, no doubt. But first we've got to master ourselves, because the power is about mastery. Power can be used to improve or control our material life, and it can be cultivated as spiritual power for inner transformation, as well as to bless others. And power can be misused. And Charles Fillmore talked about it 100 years ago. He said, today men are striving to acquire power through money, legislation, man-made government, and they fall short because they've not mastered themselves. And if we look at today, we could get so discouraged. The state legislatures have gone wild in making laws that are very controlling and about power. But what is the power really? And then there are demagogues, but I still maintain that goodness prevails. But we really need to look at how we use power. So our power, our dominion, is our spiritual capacity for single-minded attention to integrity in thought, word, and action, claiming our wholeness and the ability to tell ourselves the truth we know. If people ran that as a test of, am I using my power correctly, man, I think they may stop a little cold in what they're doing. I think as a laser beam of light cuts through steel, spiritual power is focused attention on what we value the most. We can achieve self-mastery. We cut through a flurry of random thoughts to identify the truest and the kindest, keeps coming up, ways to respond to any moment. Another way to look at this, and I said this to Paul Hasselbeck recently, and he loved it, the idea of agency. Agency's kind of become an important word of late. You know, you have a sense of agency. And agency is taking control of your life, cutting through the noise, finding that emotional and physical balance, thinking more clearly and advocating for yourself. A sense of agency. You know, I'm not giving my power over to you. I have a sense of agency and a sense of responsibility. And we use concentration to develop that sense of agency. We are single-minded, and it's not only a quality, oh, I know I multitask all the time. If only I could be one-minded. But also, we can sometimes hyper-focus on details and not see the rest of the big picture. But we need to put that relaxed and assured attention on holy, whole spirit. And that's when I express my power the best. I think we try to fix things too much. We try to come from that human perspective. But if we put our mind on divine mind, it would be a whole different thing. And I love it. This is from Philippians, and Paul said, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure and lovely, whatever is worthy of praise, think about these things. Do we do that? Is that what we put our mind on? Now, every religious discipline teaches us self-mastery. And for example, in the Tao it says, he who conquers others has physical strength. And we've seen so many examples of people that have, to me, a delusion of power. And sometimes it's physical strength, sometimes it's political strength, they think. But he who conquers himself is strong. And in the Bible, in Timothy, it says, for God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but he gave us a spirit of power and love. Now notice how throughout the slides we've had power and kindness, power and love. You know, it's all wrapped in together. It's not just power, you know. Because you see, really what it is, if we're going to master ourselves, it's a call to our spiritual authority, giving over to spirit, to have that consciousness of spiritual service and divine identity. I can be a presence so solidly standing in my truth of wholeness that actually others know it and feel empowered. Think about maybe someone you know that is truly powerful. You know, were they the biggest and the strongest, or were they really grounded and centered? So when I practice self-mastery and align with my spiritual authority, my words and actions affect the whole of me and my community. I restore the equilibrium between the physical and the spiritual. So see, that's that sense of agency, having that balance. The balance. So what I'd like to do, what was really fascinating to me is when I looked at the 12 Powers, the original work by Charles Fillmore, he had a way of downloading spirit. And you know, we always talk about we are the Christ. And when people first come to Unity, they go, huh? We're the Christ? Because they're used to Jesus Christ. We are the Christ. And we transform ourselves into that by raising our consciousness and by using these centers of consciousness, which really you talked about as with the 12 zodiacs, 12 powers. They really have physical activation centers. So we're going to do kind of an activation for this today. And Charles Fillmore said, when man is developing out of mere personal consciousness into spiritual consciousness, he begins to train deep and larger powers. He sends his thoughts down into the inner center of his body, and through his words quickens them to life, where now they'll begin to work in the universe. Man does not exercise the power of his spiritual nature because he lacks understanding of its character and his relation to the originating mind with the capital M. We forget, and it's just like I did last night. Before I called Silent Unity, I was, woe is me. I'm not going to get over this. But what I knew I needed to do was tap into spirit, tap into mind, tap into prayer. That's what I needed to do. And from that divine mind, we inherit power over the forces of our mind. In truth, we have power over all ideas and thoughts. And honestly, I was totally able to flip the switch. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a guided meditation. And I've written some affirmations that are going to be as I go through this. So let's sit with a straight spine, have that standability in our spine. Lift your head, have an open heart center. breathe. Lord, let me tell you, when you take for granted your ability to breathe, breathe and relax and feel yourself seated in your chair. We're first going to concentrate on the crown. That's the Christ Center. That's where we connect to divine mind, to super consciousness. We say, the Christ of God is awakening in me. Feel open. Feel a soft golden light, an outpouring of spirit. Let this dissolve and expand in your consciousness. Feel that golden light coming through. Now drop this Christ light to the front of the forehead. Some may call it the third eye, the seat of conscious mind. I am aware that the Christ of God is awakening in me. It's entering, it's awakening. I am aware. Now allow this presence, this Christ light, to drop into the center of the head, the pineal gland. The Christ of God, through faith, is awakening in me. Allow the Spirit to flow down, penetrating and permeating every function and cell of soul and body, even into the hands and feet. Feel that flowing down, this golden light. Spirit makes its way entirely through the body temple, that in fact we live in it, move in it, and have our being in it. It contacts the ascending energies from earth, the kingdom and the earth, spirit and earth. The descending spiritual current and ascending earthly current contact each other at different points in soul and body consciousness. They activate our centers of consciousness. Today, feel that contact in the Om center, the solar plexus. You are thus laying the foundation of the Christ body. Affirm, I am filled with power. Wow. The Christ of God expresses in me and through me as love and power. I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and power. O blessed Spirit, in thy divine wisdom, I now erase my mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of life, I bring my world into manifestation according to the perfect law.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Be still and know that I am God. 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 Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. 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 Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still.
Well, I used the original words of Charles for the invocation, and somehow, having gone through that process, those words made more sense to me than they've ever made. They've always been beautiful, but I really get the sense of what he was doing there. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that meditation.
Be